Are you feeling a little nostalgic or even depressed as you make the move into retirement? It's such a big transition time for our lives and really challenging for some people. But I want to talk to you today about how we can deal with nostalgia and even depression as we reflect back on the past and we look at our memories and put them in a positive spin in a way that is constructive and helps us to move forward. Now, my name is Margaret Manning. I'm with 60andMe, and I want to thank you for being here today. I hope this is going to be a good conversation for you. I know a lot of people find retirement, in quotes, to be a very difficult thing for them to cope with and to move positively forward. So I want to give you some thoughts on how you can deal with that nostalgia and depression and some of the influences that we have around us that we can try to manage. My name is Margaret Manning. I'm with 60andMe, and I want to thank you for being here today. I really do appreciate you taking the time to really focus on some of these topics. There are things that are affecting most people, and we can learn and share a lot from each other. And I want to make sure that you feel that there's some practical things that you can do. Now, today our show is brought to you by Easy Spirit. Easy Spirit is a shoe company that's been making really fashionable and comfortable shoes for many years. They've updated their product line, their websites. They've got some beautiful shoes. They've got boots and shoes, of course, athletic shoes in all shapes and widths, and something really for everybody. They focus on comfort, and they believe that with comfort, everything is possible. If you're feeling comfortable, that's going to achieve everything for you. So I encourage you to check out their website, easyspirit.com, and also to take a look at the description in this video. There's a promotional code for 20% discount off of our Easy Spirit shoe purchase. So let's talk about, though, this transition into retirement and what we can do to, alleviate some of the challenges. Now, the article's by Howard Fishman, one of our bloggers, and he writes about this in a very kind of psychological and deep way. And I think that it's easy to, look back at the past and, interpret it in ways that don't help us to move forward. So he talks about, the fact is that when we're at retirement, whether it's 60, 70 or whenever, we go through a culture shock. We don't have our friends by our sides anymore. We don't have our buddies to go to lunch with. Our children are still at home if we have them. And it's a different world. It's a world of connection and deadlines, and it just fills the empty spaces. And then when you retire, well, it changes. It all changes. And you've got this kind of emptiness and a vulnerability in some ways too. And I think that's the thing that Howard talks about really beautifully. He says we feel the contours of everyday life. And there's this tendency to go back to this idealized past, back to the past when things were different, when they were maybe better, when they were easier. There's this kind of desire to do that. Now, nostalgia, which is this looking back process, is, as Howard says, a double-edged sword. And there's actually two kinds of nostalgia. There is reflective and restorative. Now, reflective nostalgia is the one that can help you, because that can help you deal with the past. It can say the past is, it's done. We can't change it. We can have all these should've, would'ves, could'ves, maybes, the things that we might have done, but we can't change the past. It's gone. And I think that's one thing that this type of reflective nostalgia is good for. And it's kind of fun. You get to look at the things that you did in your past, the things that, you might have enjoyed, that gave you meaning, that gave you definition. But now, it's different. And you can see that as the past, deal with it, and then move forward. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. But restorative nostalgia can become more obsessive. This is where you cannot separate from the memories. You are just constantly thinking about the past, and the memories are not, they're not always good ones. They're memories that you feel you didn't resolve, or that that hurt you, or hurt someone else. And that's the danger of this reflective restorative nostalgia, where you are dwelling on the past in an obsessive way, and you can't let it go. And it's like, these quotes about, you can't write a new chapter until you turn the page on the old one. But this is the kind of nostalgia that holds you, it has a grip on you, and it won't let go. And of course, Howard talks about the way that media, our media, newspapers, magazines, online even, help they encourage us or they push us to fall victim to this kind of manipulative nostalgia, where they remind us of the good old days, how things used to be, how if you buy this product, you will be able to restore the past and the things of the past, and that doesn't fuel positive nostalgia. That fuels a kind of negative association that leads to depression. If you feel like you're constantly, looking back to the past as that golden age and you can't ever get it back, even if you've lost someone, and this is so sad if it's someone that you've lost tragically or just unexpectedly, or you've got a divorce that you didn't expect, those are hard experiences to let go and to move forward from. But the obsessive thinking about that kind of past is not going to help you, and that's what I think is important. Howard gives one good suggestion, which I kind of like this, which is, he says, lean into the memory, go deep into it. Let yourself do that now and again, because then you will feel it, and then you will feel like you've dealt with it, and you've cried, you've done your grieving, and then you can move forward. Another thing that he talks about, which I think is a really good idea, is if you can find someone who went through that experience with you, and talk to them about your recollection of it, your memory of it, the nostalgia that you're feeling about it. And he said that a lot of times you'll find that their experience was a little different, even of how they observed you in going through that situation. And so sharing the story with someone who went through it, not just was like by, in that you're sort of a friend, but someone that knew how you were feeling, then you can actually sort of compare notes. The incident may not be as dramatic or as, earth-shatteringly powerful as you thought it was at the time, because our memory has this habit of amplifying, right? So take the lessons that you've learned from the past to heart. That's the next thing. And I think that's a really nice one too, because what it's saying is, there's a lesson, and you're privileged in some ways, Howard says, to experience that. It's a privilege to have had that experience and to have learned from it and to be able to move forward. And as he says, and I love this quote here, he says, own the memory. Don't let it own you. Own it. Own the memory and don't let it own you. I think that's a really, really powerful statement. Of course, another thing he suggests is perfectly sensible and makes sense, is to just fill your life with with other things. One thing I do want to mention about to do with the owning it, I just had a card from our deck that I wanted to mention, because I don't know if you remember, this is our deck of cards, it's 46 cards, inspirational paragraphs on the back that kind of help you deal with some of this stuff. And there's one card that says honor your emotions, and I like this one because we have emotions and we have to honor them and we have to own them. And I think that's why this card is so particularly powerful for me as it relates to nostalgia and emotion. Own it, own your emotion. And it's always good to keep it in perspective. Another thing then, just to finish a few other thoughts here, there's a couple of really good ones here that I haven't mentioned. One is to keep a positive mindset. The past can't be rectified today. Work on a resolution of where you are right now. If you need to deal with one part of it, make an apology, send someone an email, talk to a friend about it, do that, but live in as much as you can in the present moment. And if you can shift that mindset from a negative memory of the past to a neutral or positive. It's funny, every one of my birthdays, I always go out and just walk and go back as far as I can in my memory and kind of do a memory life review. And I always get to these points where I'm sitting down on a bench and having a few tears because something happened that was sad. And then I always try to remind myself, yeah, but what came of that? What was the thing that came of that was positive? And always I found something, always. Actually, one thing that helped me was to go back to pictures. And, like when I was, for example, going through a divorce, I look at the pictures where we were smiling, and that's what I remember. Those were the moments to remember and be nostalgic about. And finally, find balance in your life. Eat, sleep, exercise. Find the things you can control, just do them in balance, and be gentle with yourself. Just don't beat yourself up. You know, we're all flawed. We're flawed human beings, and that's what makes it beautiful. And I hope that you found this useful. I personally found nostalgia as a powerful positive, but it can be very, there's a delicate line. So how often do you find yourself catching yourself reminiscing about the past? Are they good memories or bad memories, or in between somewhere? And what do you do? How do you bring it all back to the present moment and move forward? Leave your comments below. Let's have a conversation, and please check out our other articles on this topic and videos, and just know that we're here for each other. So if you've got something on your mind, need an extra hug today, just leave that in the comments and we'll do our best to give it to you. But have a wonderful day, everybody. Take very good care. We'll talk again soon. Bye-bye for now.